Hey everyone, I'm Joshua Orro, the Mustang Prince, and welcome to Mustang Prince Orro Reports. So, after blogging the Pokemon Ranger movie from last episode, why don't we look at another Pokemon movie? But this time, one that was released in American cinemas. Now, so far, I already did Pokemon 3 during Season 2, which is still considered one of my top favorites next to the recent 2 reboots and last year's Detective Pikachu movie, which were all critical hits. Pokemon Heroes during Season 6 was very Italian, and it had a very tear-jerking ending when Latios died. Pokemon Forever during Season 7 was very beautiful, and it really tugged at my heartstrings. As for Pokemon the first movie, well, that film is classical, despite the fact that there were a few hiccups, though it did influence a TV-made sequel and a CGI remake on Netflix. But, for today's episode, we're going to look at the second theatrical Pokemon movie, and just in time for its 20th anniversary here in America. Released in Japan on July 17, 1999, and in North America on July 21, 2000, the movie is Pokemon the Movie 2000, The Power of One. So, let's get ready. In this film, Ash's adventure begins when a powerful storm beaches him and his friends on Shamudi Island, just as the islanders are preparing their annual Legend Festival. And, because he's a Pokemon trainer, they choose Ash as their annual chosen one. The festival enacts an ancient legend about the 3 great and powerful Pokemon birds, Moltres, Zapdos, and Articuno, who maintain nature's balance on the earth by ruling the elements of fire, lightning, and ice. However, an evil collector has plans to capture the 3 legendary birds, along with the guardian of the sea, Lugia, which throws the environment out of balance. So, it's up to Ash and friends to retrieve 3 elemental glass balls in order to restore the planet. So, what do I think of the movie? Well, not only was this film huge, but it was also action-packed and legendary. And darn it all, I love it! But let's move on to Mustang notes. Now, there's not a lot of trivia to talk about, except for the fact that this was not only the second Pokemon movie to be released in theaters, but it was also the second to be distributed by Warner Brothers here in America. And also to note, this was the second film that I know about that had the number 2000 in the title, the first being Fantasia 2000. And yes, in case you're wondering, I do know about Godzilla 2000 as well. Also, while this movie did earn less money at the box office than Mewtwo Strikes Back did, it was still a financial success, and it received better reviews upon release. And I happily agree with them, because I felt this movie was a huge improvement over Mewtwo Strikes Back. Though, I still think Pokemon 3, Spell of the Unknown, is the one that beats them all. Anyway, this movie takes place on Shamudi Islands in the heart of the Orange Archipelago. Near Shamudi lie the islands of Fire, Ice, and Lightning, which is home to the 3 legendary birds, Moltres, Articuno, and Zapdos. Also to note, this film takes place sometime after the events of the episode Charizard Chills, which is where Charizard becomes less lazy and stubborn and more loyal and obedient. And it also takes place sometime before Ash got his final Orange League badge and before he battles Drake. And it was also the time before Misty caught a Poliwag. As for the animation, well, most of the animation is classical Japanese hand-drawn animation. However, there are a couple things that are computer animated in this film. First, there's the underwater scene where Lugia lives, and of course, Lawrence III's airship. As for the story, well, I already said that this movie is a major improvement over Mewtwo Strikes Back, that's for sure. But I kind of get the feeling that part of this film's plot feels like it influenced a film called The Day After Tomorrow. But while this film's disasters were caused by global warming and greenhouse gases, the weather disasters in this film are caused by an imbalance of nature. Also, not only do these weather disasters cause havoc all over the world, but they've also been upsetting countless Pokemon. And speaking of which, later in the movie, a massive herd of Pokemon, well, mostly the types that are water and flying, are seen heading towards Shamudi, while the others follow after the ocean is frozen. Also, the rest of the movie is really epic, thrilling, action-packed, and heart-pounding, despite the fact that there are a few fourth wall breaks here and there. Also, there are two songs that are featured in this movie that I want to talk about. First, there's the Orange Island theme song, Pokemon World. Now, this is one of my favorite theme songs in the Pokemon franchise, and in my opinion, I think Youngstown and Nobody's Angel do a great job singing this movie's cover. Secondly, we have the movie's main song, The Power of One. Now, there are two versions heard throughout this movie. One version being the one played by Melody's Ocarina, and the version sung during the end credits by Donna Summer. To me, this song is very beautiful, and, well, while Melody's Ocarina is as soothing as a Poke Flute, I gotta say, I think Donna Summer's version is the best. Also, like Pokemon the first movie, this film features a great selection of artists, like Dream Street, Westlife, Weird Al Yankovic, Plus One, the B-52s, and others. And now let's move on to the characters and their voice actors. Our main hero, Ash Ketchum, is voiced by Veronica Taylor. Best known from Nana, 7 of 7. Ash's Pokemon in this film include Bulbasaur, Charizard, and Squirtle. Plus, during his adventure in the Orange Archipelago, Ash captures a baby Lapras who got separated from its school near Tangelo Island, and a hungry Snorlax on the 7 Grapefruit Islands. Now, this film is the first out of 4 movies where Ash is given a very special role. The other 3 films being Lucario and the Mystery of Mew, where, well, Ash became Cameron Palace's Aura Guardian, Arceus and the Jewel of Life, where Ash helped Deimos tame Arceus in the past to save Machina from the present-day Arceus' wrath, and of course, I Choose You, where Ash became the Rainbow Hero. In this film, Ash is given the role as Shamoody Island's annual Chosen One, and he's tasked to retrieve 3 glass elemental balls from the 3 islands and bring them back to the Shamoody Shrine. In my opinion, Ash Ketchum is still a great Pokemon trainer. Plus, he's also brave and friendly. But, like in most episodes, Ash can be a tad overconfident, stubborn, boastful, and a little bit arrogant. But, after finding out that he is the legend's true Chosen One, just because he's a Pokemon trainer and his name is mentioned in the prophecy, Ash feels kind of unsure and he doubts himself. But thankfully, his friends and his Pokemon give him the confidence that he needs in order to succeed in saving the world. Ash's best friend and partner, Pikachu, is vocalized by Iko Otani. To me, Pikachu is still a great Pokemon in Ash's team, and I just love the bond that it shares with Ash. And I like that Pikachu believes in Ash. However, there is a part where Pikachu feels pretty troubled during the world's disruption, and it was kind of weird when Pikachu grabbed Ash's hat. But I did like when Pikachu assists Ash to get the 3 treasures. However, the most interesting scene in this movie is when Pikachu tries to communicate with Zapdos by using its electricity. You know, I can see that working. I mean, that's basically how radio waves work. Next we have Misty, the gym leader of Cerulean City, voiced by Rachel Lillis. Her Pokemon consist of Goldeen, Staryu, Psyduck, and Togepi. Now, in my opinion, Misty is an okay friend, despite the fact that there were times when she bickers with Ash a lot throughout his journeys. Still, I like when Misty gives Ash confidence when he doubts that he can save the world, and when she saves Ash and Pikachu from the ocean when Ash became unconscious. However, the one flaw with Misty is that during the Legend Festival, she feels jealous, and when she refuses to go with Ash to Fire Island until the weather becomes worse. Next we have Tracy, voiced by Ed Paul. Tracy is a Pokemon watcher whom Ash and Misty met on Tangelo Island, and he's also Professor Oak's biggest fan. In my eyes, Tracy is a nice friend while traveling with Ash around the Orange Islands, and I think Tracy is very knowledgeable and a great guide and sketch artist. Also, Tracy's Pokemon include Venonat, Marill, and Scyther. Next we come to Team Rocket's Jesse, James, and Meowth, voiced by Rachel Lillis, Eric Stewart, and the late Maddie Blaustein. These guys are still shenanigan Pokemon thieves who still keep trying to kidnap Pikachu. However, this movie becomes one of their redeeming moments, due to them using Arbok and Weezing to try to set Zapdos free, while Ash uses Pikachu, Charizard, Squirtle, and Bulbasaur to save Moltres. And later, they help Ash get to Ice Island using a speedboat. Plus, they even make a heroic sacrifice by letting go of Lugia and jumping into the sea. Next up, we have Melody, voiced by Amy Birnbaum, who would later voice Molly Hale in Pokemon 3 and May's little brother Max in the Hoenn season. Melody plays as the Festival Maiden due to her sister Carol being too old. In my eyes, Melody is a tad disgruntled and rebellious at first, but after meeting Ash and choosing him as the annual Chosen One, she accepts her role more passionately. Also, I just love the way she plays Lugia's song on her ocarina, which is really beautiful. However, I don't really like it when she thinks that Misty is Ash's girlfriend, because we all know that Serena is the better girl for Ash. We also have Marin, voiced by Tara Jane, who would later voice Sammy Oak in Pokemon Forever and Bianca in Pokemon Heroes. Marin has the shortest supporting role in the entire movie. Mostly she's seen giving Ash and the gang a boat ride around the Orange Islands, until they are forced to land at Shamudi. But later, after the festival dinner, she gives Ash and Pikachu a ride to Fire Island before her boat got damaged during the storm. Also, Marin seems to be a really close friend with Carol. Next is the famous Professor Samuel Oak, voiced by Stan Hart. Now, this film is the first time Professor Oak was seen in a big screen Pokemon movie, and he serves a very important minor role in this film. When he's visiting Delia in Pallet Town, after witnessing the strange weather and the Pokemon becoming upset, Professor Oak feels that something is definitely going wrong. Later, on the news helicopter, Professor Oak knows that the legendary birds are involved with what's going on, and he mentions that the area around Shamudi is the source of all the waters of the world, and perhaps life itself. Next is Professor Oak's friend, Professor Felina Ivy, voiced by KZ Rogers. In the beginning of the Orange Island season, Professor Oak sent Ash to Ivy's lab on Valencia Island to pick up a GS ball. However, Brock decides to stay behind and become her assistant and help her take care of numerous Pokemon at her laboratory. However, in this movie, Ivy is first seen giving Professor Oak a phone call regarding the Pokemon disturbances, and later, she joined Professor Oak on the news helicopter. We also have Ash's mother, Delia, also voiced by Veronica Taylor. In my eyes, Delia's role in this movie isn't as big or as important as her role in the third movie. Still, I think Delia is a great gardener, and I think her Mr. Mime, Mimey, is a great helper around her house. However, later, she accompanies Professor Oak and Ivy to Shamudi while worrying about her son's well-being. Still, I think it was really sweet when Delia tells Ash that every day he's her hero. Next we have Slowking, voiced by Nathan Price. Now, we all know this Pokemon is one of the two evolved forms of Slowpoke. However, since this movie was Slowking's debut before the Johto generation, in this film, he's the guardian of the Shamudi Shrine. He also gives Ash advice on where to find the ice, lightning, and fire spheres that were needed to calm down the three raging birds. These are the three legendary birds, Moltres, Articuno, and Zapdos. Now, in the games, they can be found in a power plant between Cerulean City and Lavender Town, a cave on Seafoam Island, and Victory Road. However, despite the fact that Ash and the gang have already seen two of them before, here, all three of them are seen as elemental titans who rule over the islands of fire, ice, and lightning. Also, Lawrence is trying to capture them in order to bring out Lugia. Moltres gets captured first in the movie's prologue, and later, Zapdos gets captured not long after claiming Fire Island as its territory. However, Ash and the gang save them from Lawrence's airship, but they, along with Articuno, clash with each other in their rage. And they also become obstacles trying to prevent Ash from succeeding in getting the last treasure. Another character to talk about is Lugia, voiced by Eric Rath. Now, believe it or not, this movie was Lugia's debut before he, along with Ho-Oh, became the mascots of the Gold and Silver games. Mostly, we see Lugia underwater, but when the three raging legendary birds are clashing, Lugia emerges from the sea and tries to calm them down with Ash's help. In my opinion, Lugia is intelligent and clear-minded, and it's keenly aware of its role in the legend surrounding the islands. Plus, I think Lugia has some awesome attacks, like Safeguard, Whirlpool, and Aeroblast. Also, I think Ash is a very lucky kid to ride on Lugia's neck. Finally, we have the villain of the movie, Lawrence III, voiced by Neil Stewart. This guy is a collector who travels around on his airship using a holographic chessboard, gathering artifacts from all over the world. His main goal in the film is to capture Lugia. However, Lawrence is a tad short-sighted about the world, and he doesn't seem aware about the disruption of the natural forces when he was capturing the legendary birds. And now, let's move on to my final words. Overall, Pokemon the Movie 2000, The Power of One, is an absolutely awesome movie. While it is a major improvement over Mewtwo Strikes Back, it doesn't really top my feelings for Spell of the Unknown. But still, the animation is great, the action is thrilling and epic, the legendary birds are awesome, despite the fact that they're clashing with each other due to their natures being disrupted. Ash is a great main character, even if his attitude has a few hiccups. Pikachu is awesome while supporting Ash on his quest to save the world. Misty and Tracy are decent travel buddies while Ash is in the Orange Archipelago. Melody is good too, though I still do not like it when she teases Misty about her being Ash's girlfriend. Lugia and Slowking have great roles too, and I think they do great at giving Pokemon fans hype for Generation 2 after this film. Finally, Team Rocket, while still bumbling shenanigans, do get a lot of redeeming moments in this movie. So, I think this is one of several Pokemon movies that you should definitely watch, especially if you want to share it with your kids. I give this movie a 95% out of 100. Well, that's all for now. Be sure to tune in for my next episode. where we look at a classic railway movie from the early 90s, Mustang Power.